Travis, Love Will Come Through on XFM 104.9, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington, etc. Got some great tunes actually lined up.
Excellent.
I've brought in some Amy Mann, some Neil Young. I'm playing my favourite Clash track. What have you got for us, Steve?
I got a dynamite hip-hop tune by The Roots, which I think you'll enjoy.
Love it.
Got a little bit of Joni Mitchell, maybe swing that on later.
Oh, excellent. I nearly brought in some Joni Mitchell. Good job I didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't have made any difference. It wouldn't have made any difference.
No, you'd have probably played yours, and then I'd have been told to
go away.
Carl,
Carl, what have you got lined up for us as the producer?
Right, well, Rockbusters.
Been off this week again.
Has he?
Yeah.
Another week off?
Another week off, yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a full week off. I had 3 days off because I was working all over Christmas.
Yeah.
And still didn't stop working, preparing stuff. You've got a nice load of prizes there that I've sorted out. I had to come in especially to sort that out.
Yeah.
Rockbusters.
Did you rifle through the drawers up at Capital Gold instead of down here?
Yeah. Rockbusters, we're still doing that.
Yeah, you're picking it up.
Yeah.
He's picking it up. Yeah, still doing that.
We've got that. Last week, we sort of changed Educating Ricky a bit. Just a little bit.
Don't say we, I don't want to be incriminated in it.
Well, changed it in a sense that rather than giving you too much information about different things, it's hard to sort of keep it all in.
Yeah.
I'm giving you sort of information on one thing, so last
no,
week...
because some of your stuff was a little bit too intense for me to... my favourite story was there was a blind girl, she hit her head and got better, and I couldn't take all that in at once. So you should really ration some of the education.
Wasn't last week war-related stories?
Yeah, it was war, do you think of that then?
What
and
do
it
you
was
think of that?
3 things.
And it was the French battle going over the top was John's got a moustache, which you think was ambiguous, because someone might have said that anyway.
Well, look, you've remembered it, so it's working. So we'll be doing that, and last week
loads of French people have just gone to war who were listening to this.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to learn some science this week.
Did I?
Yeah. so the title this week for that is Acid, I Would Sort You Some Science Out. Acid, because that's...
How long did that take you to call?
Listen, but you know, people love Carl. There's comedians come to me and go, Carl's the funniest man. They absolutely love him, right? But I think we're only seeing half of it, right? If we can get him on television, his face then, when he told me that title, was like a child at Christmas.
Yeah.
He was so proud of it. He was excited what I was it was brilliant.
It's a bit like when a child's drawn a picture in art class, you know you've got to stick it on the fridge, but you basically think it's crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very much like that.
Alright, Carl?
Is that good?
Yes.
So we'll be doing that. Do we need them?
Yeah. Have you got another one?
Yeah, I've got another one. Looking at snails.
Oh, yeah.
Snails.
Do we need
Because I know you're not a fan of snails, are you?
Well, after a bit of research, I found some good stuff out about, like, they sleep for 13 years, some of them.
Yeah.
And that. So we'll be looking into that
you
later.
tried that one.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
We've got Ritual,
Yeah.
which is something that I told Ricky about.
Yeah, well, last week's was brilliant. It's good to have a flat head in India.
It's good to have a flat head in India.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Well,
that's
I'm gonna just play one of my favourite Smith tracks.
Can I just make a request? So I'd quite like, if you've got time, to bring back, just for 1 week only, White Van Carl.
Sure.
Because there's some quite interesting topics this week.
Oh, there's things happening in the world.
There's some
Carl,
things
I think
happening.
there is.
No.
There is a light that never goes out. Someone's left one of those little things in here. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Amazing. What are they called, those things?
I'm just there, I was thinking of being in the front row at a Morrissey concert and going, can I just play along? They are brilliant.
I don't know what kind of sound that is.
I don't know. It's only used for when Kenneth Williams
Yeah, exactly.
sees someone undressing.
Yeah.
That's the only time that is used, that noise. That is
But
brilliant.
it's like it was specially created for the Carry On films.
Yeah, we need, I don't know what it is, but we need something when I walk in and see someone changing. Well, what about this? There is a light that never goes out by the Smiths. I phoned Carl up in the week, yeah, and I said, what are you doing? He went, well, even though it's one of my days off, I'm just doing some research on the web. When found anything that said, yeah, I'm doing science. And then he said, you can get wigs for dogs in Tokyo. That's his scientific fact. And I went, what do you mean? He said, dogs, if they need a wig. I said, if they need a wig, what? Dogs going bald? And he went, like, this is fine to him. He went, It's a stressful city, Tokyo. The world's alright with Carl. He's always got an explanation. I've only ever seen him confused once. When, in Edinburgh, he looked out of his window one day and he saw a bloke putting a parking ticket on some rubbish.
Yeah.
And that genuinely confused him.
Yeah.
He couldn't work out, could you?
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
And the woman breastfeeding her 8-year-old child. You didn't like, did you?
I don't like that. But, what's the name? Animals with wigs. I kind of thought, after I put the phone down to you, I kind of thought about it, thought, yeah, it was a bit daft, that.
Are you sure he's not the ageing pop group?
No.
The Animals?
But when you think, have you ever seen, like, a bald pet?
No.
It's weird.
What do you mean?
Because my mum, we had a cat, we used to get through loads of cats because we lived there.
Oh god, it started early today, innit?
What do you mean
It's only 10 past 1!
What are you doing?
No,
running a restaurant?
We lived on...
Oh god, what do you mean?
No, we lived on like a main road.
Oh yeah.
Right? So we used to get through a lot of them. My dad
It was
kept
their
saying,
risk.
you know, stop wasting money, you know, it's not
Stop
good.
wasting money, not wasting cats!
Right, so, anyway, we had this cat that was ill all the time. And,
It's just bang the nerves, probably.
Yeah, malingerer. Yeah, I'm terrified.
I'm going to which house?
Rome. Oh god, bloody hell. Rome.
Don't let me go to the Pilkingtons.
and it, for some reason, it kept being sick all the time. Right?
Yeah, that is nerves. That's definitely nerves.
So my mum kind of thought, I've had enough of this, and she shaved it.
What? Whoa! 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 Now I know you're not vets in your family, but what correlation did your mum think there was between you being sick and shaving it?
Because it kept being sick, and it was a pain to wash, because it kept getting
So
caught
she wanted a dry wipe cat.
So
Why didn't you just varnish it? What?
it's weird. It's weird.
So now he's cold and sick.
No, but not all of it. She left sort of the back half, but sort of from its waist, sort of.
I love that shaving because it's sick on itself.
And
That is
it was the
genius.
weirdest looking thing. I mean, normally I like cats. I'm always like giving yours a stroke on the head and that.
Yeah.
But as soon as she did that, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
can't touch it. And then
So now it's sick, cold, and hated.
Yeah.
Carl.
It must have, I mean, the other cats must have been taking the mick out of it constantly. It's just making things worse. Did it get, I'm hoping that it got run over and was put out of its misery.
no, I think it got all right, that one. Or is that the? Yeah, it did get run over. It did.
Oh, God. Oh, dear.
How many cats do you say you've got through?
I'd say whilst I was living at home, I mean, it's still on the increase even though I'm not there. So whilst I was there, probably 5.
God.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
And were you upset each time, or you just got used to it?
It's one of them things, isn't it? Like I've said before, when you first see something, it's a bit of a shock. Do you know what I mean? It's like the Elephant Man or whatever.
Yeah.
First time you see him, it's that sort of, oh, look at that.
Do you remember the first time you saw Steve? No, I'm not being funny. Do you remember the first?
Yeah, but I've said this before. It's always then you get used to how people look, and you don't. No.
I'm gonna burst. You have to play a record.
No, but
because I just see Steve's.
no, but I got used to it.
Let You Down. Gold Rush on XFM 104.9. Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington. Brilliant.
Rick, I was in, I don't know whether I should tell you this because it might rock you to the very core.
Go on.
But I was in an Indian restaurant the other night, and you've not seen the film. Have you seen the film Notting Hill?
I haven't, no.
Right, in the film Notting Hill, have you seen that, Carl?
Yeah.
Do you remember the bit, Julia Roberts plays a movie star, rather like
She's the most famous. Yeah, I know.
And she's in a restaurant having dinner with Hugh Grant, and she overhears some people in the restaurant slagging her off, and saying, you know, she's a slapper, probably all actresses are. And she's sort of stewing on it, and Hugh Grant wants to say something, and she says, "No, I won't let you." And then as she's walking out, she goes and says something to them, and of course their faces drop. They can't believe it's her. Anyway, I was in Indian restaurant the other night, and they were slagging you off, Rick. Well, what they were saying is they were going, Ricky Gervais, the thing about Ricky Gervais is he's just like the character he plays.
Right.
He's just like David Brent in real life. And I was listening in, and I was thinking, well, I want to say something. I want to go over and have a word and say, you know, you're partially right, but I couldn't. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't. What can I do? I couldn't really go over there and get into a rumble.
I want to say, what do you mean that I'm like him? I use his face and his vocal cords, But I mean, I can't help that.
But it's that thing as well of, I don't know where they've got this information from.
But no.
Because you're not,
it's
so
received.
they're wrong.
Well,
so
it's yeah, they've received it from somewhere, or they've read it or something. It's just, but I don't know. I mean, I can't really be annoyed that they're just wrong.
But it was very weird.
It's like being annoyed at a vicar believing in God. I can't get annoyed with him. I just don't believe.
But because obviously they didn't recognise me, it's rather like, you know, when they talk about that idea that if you could go to your funeral, what would people be saying about you? It's the closest you could get to that. Well, you can hear what people are saying about your friends.
But why don't you, to get him round to that, you go, he is, yeah. What do you think of the other fella that's sometimes with him? That tall fella, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
I know,
It's a shame actually, because, on the occasions I do get recognised from minor appearances, I never get any cool fans. I just get the nerds. I get the real nerdlingers. I don't get, you know, beautiful women coming out.
You're putting them off though, putting them off. You've got to take what you can.
Well,
but you'll have nothing.
No, I know, but this girl came out the other day and she said, hey, are you that guy who's involved with The Office? I went, oh yes I am. She went, my boyfriend loves you, he's over here. And she pointed him out. I was devastated. I thought, I'm in here.
Yeah.
There was nothing going on.
Milestones in human evolution, the opposable, the forward-facing eyes, the upright. These are massive things in taking us out of the animal kingdom.
And one day, Carl, you'll walk upright.
But what do you mean about eyes facing forward? You mean before we got here, there was people whose eyes were looking in their head? I don't understand. Is that what you mean?
No, because when we got sort of binocular vision. Is that the answer?
Yeah, just cavemen in front of dinosaurs and that. They sort of went, oh, and then.
Well, it wasn't cavemen in front of dinosaurs, was it? Because cavemen weren't alive when dinosaurs were alive.
There was a couple knocking about.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
There was a crossover point, surely.
Not dinosaurs like
15 million. Was the probably the Ice Age. There were still big reptiles.
I think it's fairly common knowledge that the dinosaurs did not exist.
Well, who gave the dinosaurs the name?
Well, no. Well, no. I don't know. Carl, now tell me back now. What are the Amish?
They're just people who sort of live like in the olden times. So to them, they're sort of in about 1842 or something. So they're getting old papers and that. They haven't cut up to.
No.
They haven't cut. They don't have telly.
They don't deny that the 20th century has happened. They just don't want to be part of it. They look up and they see planes and they know what they are, and they go into the town and they see it in the window of Dixon's, a telly. They just don't want to be part of it.
No, they're still living. They are
still living like it's
that's what I mean,
yeah, but they know about everything else. They just don't want to be part of it because they think that the sort of the revolution was a bad thing. They think that society became more and more depraved, and they wanted to go away from it, and they want to go back to old values, and they think they don't need TV and jets and that way of life. They can survive in the old way because the old way was better.
Missing out on Live 8.
Yeah, but they haven't had Band-Aid yet.
Yeah,
I think this is the problem that Carl had. He in his mind, they were just a bit delayed, so that in his head they were slowly moving towards the 20th century.
They wouldn't be able to watch most of these bands, all their electric guitar. They'd be allowed to watch Tracy Chapman.
Yeah.
Doing an acoustic set.
Yeah.
Between the bands. Yeah. That'd be alright.
But no, in Carl's mind, it's like if he.
Although they wouldn't like Fast Car. They wouldn't like singing about that. They go, I don't know what you're talking about. Pony and Trap. You got a pony and trap. That'd be alright.
But are they still? Do they still get sort of rubbish post and that saying we need your money for this, or get behind this charity?
They live in a isolated community. They're farmers, aren't they? They're farmers.
It's an agricultural community, and they're obviously very staunchly religious. In actual fact, it would suit you very well because you hate crowds, you hate groups of people, you don't like the modern world. You'd love it down there, wouldn't you?
He wouldn't like getting up at 4 o'clock to milk a cow, though, would he?
Well, no, but he'd get used to it.
Go back to bed, couldn't you?
It's probably out. I mean, have they got anything to do with the Hare Krishna people?
No, nothing at all.
Because out of all the religions, that's I'm not a religious person. I don't understand.
You're only saying Hare Krishna because you've got the head. That's the only reason you think it'd be.
I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, out of all it, you just what was that?
Money just fell out of my pocket where I'm nearly laying down.
That's the danger of wearing sweatpants everywhere you go.
I'm only ever lying down in a chair.
No, I'm I've never been a religious type. If people want to do it, I let them do it and what have you.
Good of you.
But out of all of them, I want one that's not going to take over your life. I don't want one where you've got to get up 3 times a day and you've got to go and pray and that you've got to get up early. Forget that. It's getting in the way. But if it's something like, I was walking to work the other day, right, crossed Oxford Street. There's a little Hare Krishna fella there, and he sort of had he had a leaflet and stuff, and he said, you know, are you interested? And I said, what do you do? And he said, well, you know, we're against getting stressed out and what have you. And he gave me a plum. They hand out food for some reason. But I sort of asked a few questions.
That's just the imagery. These 2 bald people, one of which is wearing an orange smock,
holding a plum in the middle.
He hands the other one a plum. It's almost like you can imagine some kind of religious painting.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you know, what is their sort of main thing? Because he didn't really tell me that much. He was a Japanese bloke, so I didn't know what he was saying that much.
Why? He wasn't speaking English.
Not very well. He wasn't the best sales bloke to send out for them, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what's that? Are they? You're saying they're nothing like?
Well, I believe Hare Krishna is a kind of as an offshoot of a sort of Buddhist faith.
It is. I think they are Buddhist, aren't they?
Yeah, and obviously their kind of trademark, as it were, is that they have to say, I believe they have to say Hare Krishna in a certain rhythm, in a certain order, a certain amount of times per day. That's why you see them walking down the street saying Hare Krishna, because it's actually a sort of religious chant which they're obliged to do. So you see, even if you go into the Hare Krishna faith, you may find yourself, you know, in Tesco or whatever, forced to say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Out loud, not just thinking it.
Yeah, no, out loud.
You can put it on an iPod and
you couldn't put that on an iPod. No, it doesn't count. No, I think you have to actually say it. So I guess that kind of eats into your social life a little bit.
And there's the wearing orange as well.
Particularly frustrating, I imagine, if you're in a cinema or a library. A little bit awkward there, you know, midway through.
Or
Star
you
Wars,
live next door to a bloke called Hare Krishna,
yeah,
who constantly thinks you're calling him.
Yeah,
that probably.
Yeah. So that's in this. I mean, I don't think we've quite done the Hare Krishna faith its full service there, but so interesting to you. I mean, you got handed a plum. You've been treated well by them.
Yeah, but he couldn't tell. I just wanted to know how much time it would take up. What are the benefits? You know, what can you do? What can't you do?
Well, I think the benefits are they probably don't get stressed out. They've probably got that sort of that zen, that chi-ness about them, where they try and interact and
quite meditative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got some nice trainers as well, don't they, with their orange.
What are you looking for then in a faith, Carl? You say what are the benefits? I mean, obviously Catholicism, you get the communion wine and bread, so.
Yeah, but I can afford that.
Right.
Probably just I liked the Crusaders. I was forced into joining that as a kid because a mate sort of joined it, and he sort of said he'd join in. I sort of swore at him. I said, I'm not doing that. Right? Yeah. He said, right, if you don't come with me, I'll tell your mum that you just swore. So I was like, oh. So I went along, and they used to just go on the Friday when they played, you know, Sabutio and stuff. And then I went on one Sunday, and it was totally different. There was no Sabutio. There was no sort of, you know,
table tennis.
The thing where you hold a thing and knock things over. Skittles. They was all out on a Friday. Went on the Sunday, it was rubbish. He said, right, sit down in this room. They gave me a Bible. Thought, this looks too heavy, this is too big, I'm not interested in this book. And I never went again. I used to hide on a Sunday when they came round. And that's been the only sort of...
I suddenly, why did it suddenly turn out to have to hide on a Sunday when they're coming round?
Because they wouldn't leave. They wouldn't leave.
Who was it? Were they adults?
It was sort of a... Well, he seemed like an adult to me at the time, but he was probably about 27.
Well, that is an adult.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? He seemed a lot older when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he came knocking and that, and he used to say to me, Mum, I'll just tell him I'm ill or something. And he used to hang around to see if I'd eventually come out to play and that. And if I did, I think they would have grabbed me and took me there.
I love the idea that for you religion has to bring with it some kind of gift. It's like, you know, join our faith and you get an alarm clock radio. It's like something like
I think religion does bring a gift. Usually, it's
the gift of the Lord.
Well, the gift of everlasting life, isn't it? And that's the problem with it, you know. A lot of people believe in it because they think.
But for
I'll be
Carl,
all right.
his feeling is like, that should be a given. That's safe. I'm definitely going home with eternal life. But what
Yeah.
else can I have? Is there
Why
an
do you have
iPod
to
in
have
it?
a religion? Because obviously I don't have a religion, I don't miss it, and I wouldn't want one. I'm an atheist. And that's out of belief, that's out of logic. And we don't get into the politics or the morality of it. Why do you feel you need a religion? Why don't you just get a hobby?
Well, I didn't want one. I don't want one. I just was saying that, you know, if I was to get one, which one would I go for? Is what I'm saying.
I'd
Yeah,
like
I mean,
to see you perhaps as a Jew. I think Judaism would suit you well, I think.
What are the hours like for that?
Tough. It can be tricky.
That's what I mean. I don't want anything that's, you know... And they have a day where they don't eat and stuff. I couldn't be doing that.
So then they have days when they eat a lot too much.
Yeah, but what happens if I'm not that hungry that day? Like I say, I don't like change.
Yeah.
But, so what, you had to come up with some of these? I didn't know this was his challenge.
Yeah.
Have you come up with one?
I came up with 3, and they're all belters.
Are we gonna... Oh, listen.
Oh, wow.
If
that's
it's
a
as
hell of a
good
challenge.
as your quote about happiness that we had to guess which was yours and which was the real ones, like faking it, I cannot wait.
I'm looking forward to this.
I mean, I literally can't wait. Should we do it now?
Well, I'm tempted to save it because I just want to mention to people that they should be very excited because it's going to be Carl's special night tomorrow. You excited, Carl?
Oh yeah. Oh, this is me and Steve, because we were nominated, we get a guest
For the BAFTA Awards.
and it's it doesn't say guest, it actually says partner. So I'm taking my partner, and Steve's taking Carl.
Yeah.
But what Carl doesn't realise is, you will have to pretend you're his partner, otherwise you wouldn't be able
we'll
to
have
get
to
in.
hold hands when we go on the red carpet.
Is this really your partner? It's not just a guest. They have
That's
to,
how it is, and either we go in like that or we can't get in.
you just have to be with him when you go up there. I mean, you have to, does he have to...
We should hold hands, but I think what we should do is just to make sure that there's nothing at all that like is going to go wrong. We should just do a little kiss.
Just like,
Just when we get in front
or
of the
be seen
cameras.
sort of like cheek to cheek, just to show them that,
Yeah.
you know, you're not, he's
Like
not just
Elton
getting,
John and
he's
David
not just
Tennant.
getting his mates in for a free meal, you are actually partners.
No, I'm not up for that.
Why not?
Well,
Because we know we're not actually gay.
no, but
So it's not a problem.
You've come out of it looking quite good because you've got a good-looking fella. But I'm meant to look like, you know. I mean, I'm not gay, but if I was, I don't think I'd go for your thing.
Oh, he's done you, Steve! It's turned on you again!
I cannot believe.
We were trying to get in.
Wait a minute. I have got the cream of London's totty phoning me up trying to get an invite to the BAFTAs,
Yeah.
right? We have very graciously asked you if you would like to come along.
Well, that
Yeah.
worries me even more. That you've got women calling you up. But you prefer to say no.
Carl.
Carl, I can't choose between them. If I let one of them down, they're gonna destroy
Yeah.
them. They'll be ruined, their
Yeah.
lives will be ruined. It's better for me to take you and not, ruin the lives of any of those poor women.
When he told them he was taking you, it was like a scene from Graceland. There was just like...
There was weeping.
They were crying, like...
It was horrible.
Hundreds of them. And he
Really?
just went... And
I
he-
got
he-
upset.
He just had to say, look, just chill out, bitches, didn't you?
I did, I just said, you know, you're all my hoes, but
Yeah.
I can't choose between you.
So I'm taking Carl.
So I'm taking Carl.
You know he could get you discount frocks.
No, I had a letter from the people that there's an organisation.
good.
No, listen, Carl. There's an organisation that sponsors the BAFTA Awards
Yeah.
in terms of clothes and fashion. They've sent me a letter. They said your partner. They've not specified the sex. They've said your partner can come along and choose an outfit. Now I suspect. By the look of it, it is a woman's outfitters. I'm thinking we could get you a lovely trouser suit.
Well, you have a
it may
trouser
look
suit, but-
feminine, right? But I think people will be fooled. and they'll think
It'd
it's
just be a little bit roomy in the hip, and
That
probably
would be-
narrow on the shoulders, but you're a bit skinny. Why don't you take it? Because it's a lot of an insult.
And maybe just some pearls as well. Be lovely.
Wouldn't you,
I haven't got anything sorted to wear yet.
See, you're slagging me off. You're likely to end up going in a tracksuit.
yeah.
I'm going out today. I've never bought a suit since I was like 11, right? I went to my brother's wedding. That's the last time I wore a suit.
Right.
Really? And you can't get anywhere near it now, can you?
Can't get into that.
No. No.
That was a good day.
What was it? What sort of suit was it?
It was like a sort of a grey silver one.
Excellent.
Quite flary.
Nice. We'll try and go for something
grey
similar.
silver one. I just think that with your little round head, what did that look like?
I looked alright.
Like he'd landed from the...
Just
landed on
it's
her.
like, who's
They walk among
spaceman?
us.
I didn't really need to wear a suit either, because I hardly went into the church. I was in the car park, right? And it's when my brother was in the army, and he had a Ford Capri with one of them horns that goes...
And you just sat there.
Why didn't he come in his tank?
I just sat in that, doing that all day, and the vicar was getting well annoyed with me.
What, when the service was on?
Yeah. It was
Brilliant.
driving everyone
Well,
up the wall.
were you just allowed to do what you wanted when you were growing up? Like Nelson Muntz from The Simpsons? Were you just allowed, didn't matter, was there any discipline? You didn't have teachers, you didn't know, why didn't someone come out and...
I got a couple of good hidings off my dad a couple of times.
What for?
Being mopey most of the time. If I had a strop on, he'd ate that.
He could go out and burn something down or nick something, but don't wander around with your head down.
well-
Didn't he smack you for not liking a castle once?
Yeah.
No, what's that? What's that?
Went to Carnarvon the other day, and I was bored. I was at that age when I just wanted to go in an arcade, and my dad was saying, come and see the castle, you know, there's history here, and I still don't like castles. It's one of them things that, again, just too far back to sort of even think about people living in them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I was just like, look, it's a wreck, you know, knock it down, flatten the thing. Sure. And I was being really mopey.
Isn't that great?
And it's weird, because now, like, my mum and dad have retired and gone to Wales.
Yeah.
And now and again he texts me there, and every time we get to the point where he gave me a clout, he goes, you're getting flashbacks, son.
Yeah. Well, it's a sobering lesson for you.
Yeah.
You're not on the British Heritage Committee anymore, are you? This is the National Trust land. Tarmac it. The biggest car park in Britain, for Christ's sake.
So look, you're looking forward to the awards, are you, tomorrow? You better say yes, because otherwise...
No, it'll be alright. I mean, I've told a couple of people, and they got like, God, you're dead lucky.
Yeah.
But in a way...
Oh, they're dead lucky. It's like Santa's coming, isn't it?
It's,
the way people talk to Carl, you're a lucky boy, aren't you? Going to the BAFTAs with Steve?
It's just a posh raffle at the end of the day, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
In a sense.
It's, you know, there's gonna be some...
They give away some tights and cigars.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's Chris Tower, and goes, I went into my parents' house, I found these just lying around.
Oh, but winners and losers, and,
but
and
what
food.
Well, quite, yeah, but what is exciting, surely, is the razzmatazz and the, brushing shoulders with the rich and famous.
I'm not into that.
You're not?
No.
I don't feel you're going to appreciate this like we thought
It's
you would.
weird, because Suzanne said to me this morning, who would you like to meet there? Is there anyone who, like, you know, you can get close to, and it's like, God, you know, I really admire your, you know, big fan of yours, whatever.
And it's me and Steve, so you're here now.
Well, you know...
I really admire your big fanny. I didn't...
What did you say?
What did you say?
You know, if you're a big fan of it.
Oh, right.
Oh, right, yeah.
And,
Sorry.
there isn't anyone, really. Do you know what I mean? I like, you know, you two are alright.
Thanks.
Jonathan Ross, is he going?
He might do, I don't know.
But hang on, wait a minute. I can't help but feel we could have exploited this more. We could have maybe run a competition to let someone win. You know, if you're not going to appreciate it, Carl.
Yeah. Are you going to get a trouser suit? Are you going to get a ladies' trouser suit? I just think then, if you go sort of like looking macho and walking down with him, you know, they know that you're not really partners. And I just think it's a slap in the face for BAFTA.
That's true enough.
No, it doesn't matter what you wear, though. Elton
Can't
John's-
you mince a little bit? Can't you at least sort of walk a little bit mincy? Because you've got such a macho sort of mank walk.
Elton John's fella doesn't look gay and stuff he wears and that, does he? Do you know what I mean? It means nothing.
No, but that's because Elton's doing the work for him.
No, but...
By dressing as, like, some kind of restoration dame.
Yeah, I love the fact he dressed as Anne Widdecombe for special occasions. That's his hair done like her. That's great.
Anyway, music.
This is a very underrated album. It's Richard Ashcroft's Alone With Everybody, and I know it got a bit of a slag and it didn't sell as well as it was because people were going, oh, it's no urban hymns, and it maybe it's not, but he got criticised for being pop, but this is a great tune on here. You On My Mind in My Sleep, and I think it's really good. Ashcroft there, and You On My Mind in My Sleep. Is that one, Carl?
It's alright. Yeah.
Good, okay. What I did want to do is, I want to play some, adverts now. There Goes the Fear on XFM 104.9. Well, into the last hour, and then only 2 more shows.
That's true enough.
And we're away for 3 months. I'm Ricky Gervais.
Obviously, yeah.
Steve Merchant, little Carl. Now, Carl, his homework was to come up with those stupid lateral thinking problems.
We maybe should give an example of the,
Romeo and Juliet, right? Romeo's asleep on the bed, Juliet's on the floor, covered in water and broken glass. What happened? And you ask all these stupid questions, and it's Romeo's a cat and Juliet's a goldfish. Again,
Awful.
What am I thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on then, Carl.
Right, first one.
Yeah.
There's a bloke lying on the floor, right? He's cut his head, blood's coming out of his head, and all his mates come running up, and they're all stood round him.
Yeah.
And, they don't take their hats off as a mark of respect.
That is outrageous.
Why didn't they take their hats off?
I'm laughing, but it's probably as good as the real
absolutely.
ones.
No, but these are really good.
Did you make them all up?
Yeah.
No, I mean, did you make up all the ones that already exist?
No.
That would make a lot of sense.
Right, a bloke's fallen with his... Yeah,
He's lying on the floor.
yeah,
He's dead.
yeah.
His mates come running up and like,
Was it important that his head was cut?
I don't know. I mean,
Would it have been okay if he'd have been wearing a hat? He wouldn't have been dead if he was wearing a hat.
what's your answer?
No, you're meant to answer questions. You don't just go, what's your answer? You say, where's the turn? So you go, no, and I have to guess. It's obviously like sort of motorcycle stunt team or a parachute.
Why didn't they take their hats off?
Because they're probably still on the motorbikes or something, or...
Well, yeah, but if you mark a respect to someone, you could take your helmet off.
I'm getting angry!
What? They're parachutists.
Why couldn't they take their helmets off?
Because they're
coming down from the sky.
But he's on the floor dead.
Well,
Yeah, but they can look down and see him on the floor.
Are they on the floor, Carl?
They're on the floor as
They're
well.
walking, are they?
Yeah, well, they sort of stood there looking at him.
They're stood there.
Yeah.
They're stood on the floor looking
They're
at him.
soldiers.
Why? But why? If
Because it might be in a battle zone. They might have their helmets on, and he's been shot in the head.
No.
Well, that does work. You see, this is my point. That one works. That one works. Unless you've given us a piece of information where that doesn't work. What's the difference? Why is yours different to he's been shot in the head in the trenches and they're looking at him and they keep their helmets on?
I just don't think it matters as much. If they're in the trench, they're already guarded a little bit. So they could take their hats off. It's the best mate, for God's sake.
Okay, he's dwelling on this. Are they normal hats?
What kind of hats
I'm
are
not giving you
they?
the answer.
No! Don't get ratty!
What kind of hats are they? Baseball
What
hats?
kind
If I told you what sort of hats they are, you'd have the answer.
Wow! Okay, I've got to guess what sort of a hat it is then, have I?
Right.
Is it a trilby?
No.
Is it a bowler?
I know what it is.
What?
They're spacemen.
No. Oh, that's a good
That
one.
one works as well. This is my point.
I like that one a lot.
It works. He's fallen on the moon, and not that the moon happened, it was set up, wasn't it, in the
fake,
studio,
yeah.
we know that, yeah. Okay, Carl, what's your answer?
Builders on a building site.
Why is that different to soldiers?
Because bricks don't fall in wars.
But bullets fly!
Right, next one.
No, let's play a record and we'll come back to it, Carl, while you think about what you've done.
Oh, yeah. You've embarrassed
Let's play some
yourself.
classic Suede.
Yeah, and this is for David and Kieran, I think, who wanted a bit of Butler at his best.
Come on, crack it on.
I hate you, Butler.